Having looked at two factors affecting C, we continue with the next factor on income tax. When it increases, disposable income falls, and this would in turn decrease purchasing power of households. This decreases the willingness and ability of households to consume at all general price levels, decreasing C and hence AD. We will be examining this further when we look at fiscal policy, where the government adjusts their spending and taxes to influence the economy. Your notes explain how these 7 factors can influence C. Make sure you go through them and make sure you are able to explain and analyze how events impact consumption expenditure. Next, we move on to the expenditure by firms, otherwise known as investment expenditure. Investment expenditure refers to firms spending on additional capital assets and stocks. Examples include what you see over here. All these count as capital assets, which are in essence things that help produce things. Investment expenditure also includes capital stocks, which are also known as physical stocks. When we look at the investments in the economy, we look at the investments undertaken by all firms, meaning we look at the spending of domestic firms as well as foreign firms on capital stocks and assets within the geographical boundaries of the economy. The demand for investment is directly related to its profitability, which is obtained by subtracting the cost of investments from the returns to investment. This is very similar to how we derive profits by the difference between revenue and cost. As such, any event that impacts the returns or cost of investment would impact the profitability of investment and hence the amount of investment expenditure by all firms. Once again, we see interest rates as one of the factors affecting investment expenditure. A fall in interest rates would signal a fall in cost of borrowing, making it cheaper to undertake investment. This also means that the cost of investment is lower and investments which were previously unprofitable now become profitable. As a result of this rise in profitability of investment, firms are more willing to undertake investment and hence investment expenditure rises and AD rises. Again, think about what would influence the extent of rise in investment expenditure as interest rates fall. Would all types of investment undertaken by foreign as well as domestic firms be affected the same way? Or would it depend on their source of funding? We move on next to business confidence, which is said to be the most important factor driving investment. An improvement in business outlook would make firms expect higher returns to investment, thus increasing the expected profitability of investment. And this would increase the demand for investment, leading to an increase in investment expenditure and AD. Indeed, if we come across news like this, it is good news, as this would mean that firms are more optimistic and are going to increase their spending on capital assets and stocks in the near future. We need to look at the cost of capital as a factor determining investment expenditure. When machineries become more expensive, the cost of investment increases. Ceteris paribus, investment is deemed to be less profitable, and this would reduce investment spending in the economy, decreasing I and AD. Governments can also influence the investment spending in an economy. Government policies can influence either the returns to investment or the cost of investment, or even both. One example would be increasing corporate tax. Corporate tax is a direct tax levied by the government on firms' profits. It is similar to the concept of income tax, just that the government is now taxing the profits of firms. When there is an increase in corporate tax, firms will enjoy lower post-tax profits and will be less willing to undertake investment due to them enjoying less retained profits, lowering I and AD. We will revisit corporate tax when we look at fiscal policy later on. You have seen how some of these factors impact investment expenditure. Again, do your due diligence and examine the extent to which investment expenditure will be impacted in each of the cases. And do some research on the proportion that investment expenditure takes up of aggregate demand for different economies. You may be surprised by some of the statistics that you come across. Now, move on to question 2 of the quiz.